I've never known much about the British royal family, why they get so much media, what purpose they serve, or what traumas they endure, until I read the story based around them. Princess Alexandrina was third in line to the British throne until her father and twin brother Louis passed away in an ice skiing accident. Another casualty was Chris Shankar, Louis's best friend, later revealed to be his secret lover. Chris is also the brother of Louis's widow Amira, who was once upon a time Alexandrina's best friend. Lexi, as called by her close friends, returns to London at 29 years old and the life she ran away from several years ago. She's expected to take up her position as next in line to the throne. But she doesn't, knowing she wants it. She left this life for good reasons and only returned to bury the last of her immediate family. At 17 years old, Lexi and her twin brother Louis found their mother's body floating on the sea while they were on vacation with her. She was long dead. In the year that followed, Lexi was drowning in grief until her uncle James intervened. James was the twin brother of Lexi's late mother. The first time he met his sister's children was at his sister's funeral. Yet he recognized they needed somebody and discreetly offered to help. Lexi accepted. That was how she took advantage of a travel trip and made her way to Australia, where she began a new life. At first, her family back in London held out hope that she would return in no time. But when she started college there, they began to withdraw privileges from her. One of those included bodyguards. Without them, Lexi had to move into a safer accommodation. That's how she wound up being flatmates with Finn and Jack. Finn was her first real friend and also her colleague in medicine. They would soon be third-year residents, after which they would move on to specialties. While Lexi planned to become an obstetrician, Finn planned to become a pediatrician. Jack, on the other hand, once worked for Uncle James. His family had a vineyard and a cottage at the back of the vineyard. That was too much for Jack by himself. Lexi fell in love with Jack at first sight. Thankfully, he had a girlfriend because she didn't really want to date him, and Lexi forced herself to become besties with her. Although the girl later hated Lexi so much that when she moved abroad after she and Jack broke up, she blocked Lexi and Jack's numbers. Regardless, Lexi and Jack remained friends. At the time, Lexi was seeing Ben, a handsome 40-year-old doctor who also happened to be her boss. It was a secret relationship. A month after they broke up, Jack and Lexi went camping during the holidays. They were finally about to have a moment when the chopper that would take Lexi away arrived. Despite the time zone difference between London and Australia, Lexi and Jack, they communicate regularly. The more Lexi remains in London, the more she is stunned. She could rescind her claim to the throne and return to her life in Australia. But it is difficult. This is her heritage, her family, and she doesn't want to throw it away just like that. Lexi shares Cumberland Apartment 1 with Amira. It was Lexi's childhood home and the house Louis and Amira lived in as a married couple. The old schoolmates, Amira and Lexi, become friends again. But Lexi suspects that there is so much being kept from her. In the 6th month of Lexi being back in London, she kisses Colin, son of the Duke of Hereford, who is worth £10 billion. He is the kind of man Lexi is expected to end up with. But Lexi would later put two and two together to learn Colin and Amira had an affair. Not just that, Amira was falling for him, but he didn't bother ending things between them decently. He simply showed up to a dinner party with another girl hanging on his arm. Lexi knows that if she ends up with Colin, it would be a marriage of convenience where they might have children, smile for the cameras, but be living their own separate lives. Their union would be loveless. Instead of Jack and Finn visiting Lexi in October like initially planned, she invites them in August to the countryside where her friends meet the Queen, her grandmother, and other members of her family. Lexi hooks up with Jack during the period and breaks up with him right before he leaves. She doesn't see them working out, not with Jack's history as an activist who's once been arrested and a circus of a life that's constantly surrounded with media attention, intrigue, and scandals. She believes he deserves a happy, quiet life far away from her. They stop any and all forms of communication. Right after her friends leave, taking Lexi's heart with them, she's confronted by her father's younger brother, Richard. He's the second in line to the throne, and Lexi is the only thing standing between him and £1 billion duchy. He blackmails Lexi with a name, David Roxy. It takes Lexi months to place the name. During that time frame, she is ridden with so much anxiety. She is unable to eat and loses so much weight. The name finally comes to her. He was her mother's last bodyguard, there on the scene when the tragedy happened, and he knows the real truth. Unlike the story sold to the tabloids, Lexi's mother wasn't out in the middle of the night sailing alone. She went with Lexi, but while Lexi went down to a cabin to sleep, her mom stayed up. When Lexi suddenly woke up and noticed her mother was missing, she called her daddy. Instead of alerting the authorities there, her father chose unnecessary secrecy for whatever reasons. He paid off David Roxy to make it appear that Lexi wasn't in the boat. A few days later, they found Lexi's mother's decaying body. Lexi lived with the guilt, although technically she didn't do anything wrong. Panicked, Lexi seeks counsel from two women, Vicky and Annabelle. Vicky is Amira's mother, who has always been genuinely kind to Lexi, while Annabelle is Lexi's stepmother, the other woman. Lexi's parents divorced on account of the fact that her father couldn't get over Annabelle. 7 years after Lexi's mother passed away, he married her. Annabelle has a motherly, calm aura that Lexi imagines was what drew her father to her. Annabelle opens up about how Richard, that is Lexi's uncle, hired a private investigator and uncovered the sailing incident. Then he started asking Lexi's father for money or he would spill. Annabelle wanted them to come out with the truth, but Lexi's father feared being caught up in another scandal. He was living anxiously, which was what pushed him to spontaneously join the skiing trip where he lost his life. Richard is that one royal who lives too ostentatiously. Royals are not meant to because apparently they live on taxpayers' money. But then, many of them still do. He would take a chopper when a limo could serve, or a private jet when he could have just flown first class. He was used to excessive luxury that fled from him the moment his rich business friends had to lay low for economic and political reasons. Richard borrowed a lot of money to sustain his lifestyle that not even the Queen can pay back. Hence, he turned to blackmailing his own family. At the end of the day, Lexi called David Roxy and offered him a chance to sell the story to the tabloids for millions. But first, he should give her a few days. By this time, Lexi has learned from her grandmother that the monarchy doesn't exist to speak up with their platform. No, they merely exist for a picture of stability no matter the weather. Although Lexi is supposed to rescind her claim to the crown in a very demure way, she chooses her own terms. With the help of her aide, Mary, Lexi escapes from the palace. With the help of the Prime Minister, Jenny Walsh, she obtains a new passport without HRH. Her Royal Highness, she is no more. Lexi signs documents declaring she's permanently removing herself and her lineage from succession to the crown. It's actually Parliament that sees it through. In Hong Kong, Lexi meets with a journalist of repute who is with an American newspaper. She reveals Richard's true nature as well as some ugliness in the royal family. Amira and Annabelle do the same in their parts of the world. Amira has left the royal family and would be putting her business degree to use in her father's company. Shockingly, David Roxy called the American newspaper, not a tabloid, to share what he knew. His reason: he'd never seen a mother and daughter that loved each other as much as Lexi and her late mom. Lexi's hope is that the crown passes to Demelza, Richard's daughter. Once more, Uncle James comes to Lexi's rescue, fetching her from the airport and driving her. She is to stay in his house for the remaining days of December and resume her residency in January. Later, she would get her own flat and move out. But all of these plans are scraped out the moment James drives Lexi to Jack's vineyard where he's waiting. Amira called him months back and explained everything, including Lexi's plan. Jack had to be physically restrained from going to fetch Lexi himself. He is aware she is returning that day and has forgiven her. It's a tearful, beautiful reconciliation, and they spend many years to come viewing the sun rise on New Year's Day side by side.